we can all kind of be together. So again, getting back to our guests is, do we have any guests today other than our speaker who we'll introduce here momentarily?
It's Beverly. She needs to mute herself. Oh,
All
now
right,
she,
Bev.
okay.
All right, Bev, thank you. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands up, and so we will move on. Thank you all for joining us today again. For announcements, the board is meeting right after this meeting. The board will have a 1:45 time to meet this afternoon, and so just a reminder to our board members, for next week, we will have more announcements about next week's program at the end of this meeting. But let me just say that it will be an in-person meeting at Rudy's Barbecue, which is located across Central Market on Lamar. And we'll have more details on that from Mac Ragsdale, our program chair, at the end of this meeting. But please be aware that next Thursday, and the reason for that is that we are looking for ways of getting back in a safe way to meeting in person. And just as important is that next week is the installation of our new officers and directors. So that's going to be an important time to try to meet in person and have our installation that way. So again, much more information on that at the end of our meeting. For birthdays, we have a few birthdays from our Lions Club members. This Saturday, June the 19th, Pastor Jackie Hammett. Pastor Jackie is having a birthday on June 19th. On the next day, June 20th, want to extend birthday greetings to Bob Rizzo. And on the 22nd, June 22nd, Frank Moon Tantillo is having a birthday. So to each of our Lions that are mentioned, we extend a happy birthday to you. I hope we didn't overlook anyone, but those are the ones that are on our list, and happy to recognize these Lions. We are going to move into our member profile. We like to schedule our member profiles so that we can have a better background information on these identified Lions that share their member profile. And for today, we're fortunate and pleased to have Lion Rachel Reed tell us a little bit about herself. So Rachel, if you are ready, we're gonna let you have a few minutes, and you tell us about yourself, please.
Thanks, Rudy. Thanks everybody for inviting me to give a profile. Again, my name is Rachel, and I've been a member less than 2 years. I think it was 2 summers ago that Sam Ruiz contacted me in my role at the Texas Ophthalmological Association to see if we could provide a speaker. And it took me about 5 seconds to find an ophthalmologist who wanted to come speak to this group, which was really impressive that they were so responsive. The group clearly has a reputation. And that was such a fun meeting, and our local doctor gave a talk and I gave a little talk, and then Sam agreed to sponsor me as a member. And it's been a real educational experience. I didn't know much about the Lions Club. I was generally aware of it. And I've worked with doctors for a long time, but I've never really seen the patient side of it. So it's been great. I'm looking to find out more about the vision screening. And I mean, it's an odd thing to say because our ophthalmologists, all they do all day long is try to preserve sight and rescue sight. And I think a lot of times when patients lose their sight, sadly, they don't see the ophthalmologist anymore. I mean, they don't come to them anymore. Anyway, I work for the Texas Ophthalmological Association, and that sounds like a really specialized thing and association management. So I went to UT. I grew up in Austin, moved here when I was 10. And then right when I started at UT, my whole family moved to Iowa for a job, and I stayed. And had no car, rode my bike, and the way to learn a city is on a bike. So I know downtown Austin like crazy. And went to UT, was completely directionless, graduated, got a job at the Texas Medical Association as an administrative assistant. And it turns out that this hidden profession of associations, everyone finds it the same way. They kind of stumble backwards into it and go, wow, this is a really fun job. And Austin is a hub for associations because of being in the capital. And worked at TMA for 17 years, and now I work only with the ophthalmologists. On a more personal note, let's see. During all those years when I was riding my bike around and having fun with my friends, my dating philosophy was eliminate early. And that was a great motto at the time and saved a lot of time. And then as luck would have it, I met my husband soon after that. And I'm married to Glenn, and he is one of those people who is working in the field that he meant to work in all along, even in his subspecialty. He is a historic preservation architect. And there's a lot of historic preservation in Texas, so he's covered up with work all the time. He works for the Texas Historical Commission. Anyway, and one of the conditions of the marriage was we had to live in an old house. So we live in East Austin, and we love it. And we have 2 daughters. Our daughter, Amy, is 21. She just graduated from Texas Tech, and she's a brand new nurse. And our other daughter, Lila, is a 16-year-old at Austin High. And we did commit to public school here in downtown Austin. And I'm a little bit starstruck right now because she won't remember me, but Dr. Clayton, who's on the call right now, was the principal at Lee Elementary. And, you know, she introduced us to public school, and it turned out to be a great thing. And Dr. Clayton made Lee Elementary what it is today, and it's been a great experience. She won't remember me, but anyway, we remember her. Let's see. For fun, I like to be outside, physical fitness, all of that. One thing I've kind of rediscovered is swimming. And a few years ago, I joined the master's swim team at UT and just made a lot of new fun friends, and have an amazing coach there. Spend a lot of time doing that. And looking forward to getting more involved with Lions Club. And now that we can meet in person again, I think that's just going to be delightful. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody next week in person in 3 dimensions. So that is my executive summary.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. That's a very interesting background, especially, you know, you haven't been in Austin all this time. And now in our Lions Club. So we're delighted that all this has worked out so well for everyone. Thank you again for your member profile today. And Mary Lou, I hope you heard your name mentioned in there. So glad that you provided that help in the public education field, and now helping us with our Lions Club. So again, thank you so much to both of you. Okay, have been kind of had to take a detour with our vision screening because we all know that the schools became very limited as far as being able to do our vision screening there in the schools and then in the community. But things are changing, and Tommy Cowan is our chair for our vision screening, and he is giving us an update today. So let me ask Tommy, if you will, please, if you will update us a little bit on where we are concerning our vision screening. Okay, Tommy.
I'll be happy to do that, Rudy. First of all, to Rachel, apologies for marrying an architect and surviving. That would be the first comment I would make. And second is, if your family snuck off to Iowa without you and you found them, you did better than I did. My family abandoned me also, but I found them. Real quickly, I have 3 or 4 things to say, one of which it's appropriate that Rachel made the comment about Sam Rudy. Sam's a go-getter. Rudy and I met with Sam here about, what, Rudy, 2 weeks ago. And
Yeah.
Sam is working a deal with the University of Texas and also with Ascension and Seton on some vouchers and also for screening and also setting up a program that would require that we be available for at least 2 days a week. All right, the next item that is all this is good news, by the way. Don't turn me off. You'll be happy to hear the answer. About 2 weeks to 3 weeks ago, Ann Ward called. She had a special needs request. A woman from South Austin, Cecilia Burtonair at Copper's Cove, has 4 boys, 3 of which came at the same time, and the triplets, one of which is moderately limited. The other 2 are severely limited, and severely limited in their ability to speak. They do not speak. They hear, but they don't speak, and they cannot get around without assistance of a vehicle. They were having trouble getting physicians, doctors to examine them, and she thought we might be able to. The first one was easy, and they also have a normal young man. He was easy. The first of the triplets was difficult, but doable within probably 5 minutes. The second one was difficult, more like 15 or 20 minutes. The last one took an hour and a half and actually scored out a red line, if you remember how our forms are, in all categories all the way to the limit. But we, after an hour and a half, we finally got the screening done on him, the report's done, and they have taken that report to some physicians to begin examination for glasses or contacts or surgery. So congratulations to the club. I would say this one thing. I spent about 3.5 hours with this family, and we need to say thank God for people that will take care of their children because this is not an easy task. I saw some things I'd never really imagined could happen. Maybe in your prayers you could see Cecilia and her husband and what they do. All right, the rest of the good news. I'm going to show you a picture. I think I will. That is of good news to us. This is if you can see it. Oh, no, there you go. Is a mobile unit that has been acquired by Half Helen. And that's the unit sitting there. It's a 28-footer. It has in it a complete evaluation. I'm going to try and hold that where you can see it also. That is a complete, they have 2 of those. This unit costs $450,000. Half Helen Chelsea Elliott started raising money 2.5 years ago. She now has contributions from St. David's Foundation, Moody Foundation, Lola Wright, Austin Community, Michael Dell, Horizon Bank, West Austin Lines, Montana Trust, USHIP, Impact Austin, and HCB. The reason I'm telling you all of this and the success they're having, they're inviting us to participate since they now are able to do full prescriptions, grinding of glasses, and delivery out of that, like SLR used to, if y'all remember them. We would set up next to SLR's camper, do the screening, and only the ones failing ours would go next door for that. So congratulations to us. Hello, that is not me. Enjoy whoever it is. I'm going to go ahead and speak, and if they come back in, good luck. The best news, I guess, is that we have been invited by the Austin Independent School District, Lexi Copeland, who is now in charge of vision screening, to make a proposal to them, and I'm doing it this afternoon, for us to do the pre-K3 screening of 42 schools in AISD. We have the superintendent, remember our new member who also gave us $500 when she joined, has come on and has made the recommendation to the board. And so we are sitting in a very positive position to be able to do that. We're going to have to jump through some hoops we haven't before. We're going to have to do a background check. We'll be wearing masks. We'll be 6 foot apart. We'll spray down the units. We'll take the temperatures of each one of them doing. And that is our proposal to them, to do it for free and to do it by the end of the spring semester of next year. So anyway, that's my report. Your club is well represented in vision screening all over town. We've done some charter schools. Rudy's Church's charter school. We've done one in Pflugerville, one in Del Valley, and we've got several individuals that have asked us to come screening. So we are back in the screening mode, doing it carefully, trying to be safe with everybody. Everybody that uses it has to have 2 shots. but we'll be inviting, as Patty has made available to us, the school district, the blind school, for a background check. And she is sending me the forms we'll need to be filling out, and anyone wishing to do screening in public schools will need to fill out that form, and it'll be a background check. And thanks to Patty at the blind school. That's it, Rudy.
All right, Tommy, thank you so much. That's a lot of information, but a lot of good information, positive, and helping us get back in the service mode that is our motto about being a Lion. And so we want to do that and look forward to when we can pass the entrance part of it so that we can safely work with the school children and AISD. So Tommy, thank you so much. We are ready for our main part of our program, and that is our speaker. And to introduce our speaker and our program, I'm going to ask Lion Siva to do that. So Siva, if you will, please. Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, I'm just trying to think what, I'm sure that they're doing this deployment with the data user. So for the agreements and account.
1 second. I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of my work call too as well. All right. Okay. Thank you all for accepting my request. So let me introduce Mr. Krishna Gobburu. I known him for 2 years, last 2 years, because, you know, I only moved to Austin 3 years ago. Is a great person, is inspiring person. Let me also read what we did. I mean, he's a software engineer. He's in US for more than two decades. He did his bachelor's degree in engineering from India, and then he moved to US and did master's. As part of my association with him, and the main topic today, he is a founder trustee of Austin Hindu Temple, and is a continuous volunteer and wherever required, whenever required, for any service or any activity that Austin Hindu Temple does. Though I know very little in last 2 years, but I hear great stories about him from different people that are associated with Austin Hindu Temple. And today, thanks to him, he is agreed to speak on the faith, religion, and tradition of the Hindu religion, which he often does with different groups, school, high school groups, or different elsewhere, wherever people need to learn about the religion. Thanks to him, so I request Mr. Krishna M Gobburu to screen share and start presenting the topic today.
Sure. Thank you, Shiva. Thanks for the introduction. Thank you all for having me in this program. This is the first time I'm meeting with the Lions Club here in Austin. I'll do my best to share what I know about Hinduism. I've been a practicing Hindu ever since my birth, but Hinduism is a ocean, and I'll do my best in the 30 minutes to at least give you a Hinduism 101, right? So it's pretty basics of it. Let me try to share my screen here. Shiva, let me know if you're able to see my screen. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a presentation that you're able to see, right?
Yes, it looks fine.
Okay, great. Thank you. So again, like I said, it's a basic fundamental thing that I just wanted to talk about. It's pretty complex, but let me try to tone it down so that I can finish in about 20 minutes or so. One thing that I want to do is, please let's have this as an interactive session. So if you have any questions, please stop me and ask the question, or you can ask the question at the end. Okay. And other thing is, I am slightly under the weather today, so you may see me once in a while coughing. I wanted you to pardon me in advance. Okay, so I'll go to the next slide here. Okay, so we'll start with the words of wisdom. Shiva, are you seeing that slide, words of wisdom slide? Okay, the average man looks up at the night and sees thousands of twinkling stars, each different from the other. But a man with wisdom perceives the one light behind those dome of night sky. The reason I brought this up is, again, there's a lot of misconceptions in Hinduism, misinformation about Hinduism, saying that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of gods in this religion. So the reason I brought this slide up is, okay, if you're looking at thousands and thousands, it's not the thousands that you look at. It is actually the one behind the thousand, the glow behind the thousand, the power behind the thousands of gods that you see physically. So you'll know why I brought this slide up, throughout the presentation. As you can see, the Hinduism is one of the major religions in India, in the world. About 15% of the world's population, according to 2012 census, are Hindus. Of course, there are other religions that are branched out of Hinduism. For example, Buddhism and Jainism, Sikhism, they actually came out from Hinduism. So if you add up all that, it's about 20 to 21% of the world is Hindus. Okay. The next one is the geographic distribution. I just want to talk about it. As you can see, about 101.1 to 1.2 billion people in the world are follow this faith, or they're Hindus. And in terms of um, uh, United States, as you can see, in 2020, the estimated population of Hindus in this country is about 2.5 million people. That's a significant amount, about 1% of U.S. population. And the third part in the slide shows that the top 10 countries where the Hinduism is practiced. As you can see, United States is in the rank 7 in there. So it's catching up, right? So a lot of people are moving from India and other places. So you'd see a lot of Hindus coming in here, and also you'll see a lot of temples and things like that that are coming in United States. Okay. Any questions before I move on to the next one? Okay. Often I get this question on, okay, who started this religion, right? Like other religions, is there a founder for Hinduism, right? When did it start? Things like that. These are the common questions that I keep getting when I go and talk about Hinduism one-on-one in middle schools or high schools or even church groups, right? I get called into church groups, so I go and talk. These are some of the fundamental questions that I get. And as you can see, there's no origin cannot be traced in this faith. People can guess. Somebody says 10,000 years old, some may say 2,000 years old, some may say 100,000 years old, but again, there's no particular tracing that happened that can tell you that exactly this is when the faith started. And is there a single person or a particular book? Again, that's the same thing, right? So there's no single person that has started this religion. Is there an established institution, like church, right? For example, or other religions, you have an established institution. In this faith, there's no established institution. So for example, our temple in Austin, Texas, by the way, there's a beautiful temple on Loyola Drive, close to the airport, about 70 acres of land and a nice temple there. The temple is an independent body. It does not roll up to another temple or another place in India. It's all independent body. So there's no established institution in the faith. Again, the fundamental concepts have permeated in all sections, and it continues. One of the good things about Hinduism, as you can see, is it constantly evolves throughout thousands of years, right? There are a lot of changes have come in. The changes could be the practices. The changes could be anything to do with adapting to the environment, adapting to the new cultures, things like that. Example, right? We come to United States. I know Shiva and myself, we all came for higher studies here, as well as picking up some jobs here, right? We work here. So our faith here is actually adapted to the local culture here, right? I cannot follow exactly the same principle that I've done in back home in India. Here, it's kind of adjusted to the surroundings, adjusted to the environments and things like that. So it constantly evolves. Okay. And then what characteristics of Hinduism it's definitely polycentricity is one of the things. So which is nothing but it's hundreds of pockets, right? But under the same globe, in the same circle. So you can see, imagine having different beliefs in the system. If each belief is a circle, there's a circle around that circle, right? There's a overall big circle, covering all those circles. Henotheistic attitude, again, Hinduism does accept all of the religions as well. It's like, it doesn't say that, hey, this is the only religion in the world that needs to be followed. It's like, worship of all other gods, right, is accepted, right? Like we accept any of our own gods, right? It is accepted. And think about, it's a banyan tree, right? So it says it's a big tree with a, who's, any question? Okay, I thought I heard someone. Okay, and then there's no single canonical text.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
I just want to let you know you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, let me try this closely. Is it okay now? Is it okay now?
I think it's.
I can
for
hear
me,
you
it's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's kind of,
Okay, so let me try my best to keep my microphone closer, and we'll see how it goes. And then there's no single canonical text, unlike other religions. So again, there's thousands and thousands of scriptures in there. So it is a matter of which scripture you want to follow and practice your faith. We call this as an activity, not a belief, because of the above reasons. There's no set procedure, there's no set hierarchy, there's no set institution. It's like it's an activity, constantly evolving activity. And one of the things that when people ask, hey, what do you like about your own practice, right? It's freedom of choice. The choice of, hey, I like this particular god or form of this god, I believe in him, I go and pray him. Oh, by the way, I don't believe in any of this, right? I'm agnostic to any of this, so I can be an atheist. It's also part of the system. So it's a freedom of choice in this. And then freedom of expression. In this faith, it is definitely encouraged to ask tons of questions. If you don't understand anything about religion, about the practices, it is actually encouraged to ask all these questions. In fact, there's a big scripture called Q&A kind of scripture, where it's just asking questions and getting answers to it, right? There's no one should feel ashamed or worried about asking questions. And again, the most important thing is importance of all religions and philosophies. This is what is accepted in this. So that's why I call this as the characteristics of Hinduism. One of the things that I keep getting is polytheism, right? People say, hey, but of Hindus, we heard that there are millions and millions of gods, right? So it's polytheistic. Is a polytheistic religion? Is it really true? My take on this is no, right? It's not true. One supreme being, though called by different names, that's what it is. So like any other religion, it's like, hey, there's one God, but that God manifests himself into many different forms and shapes and things like that. So it is still one God, but different forms of that God. So if you look at, there's one saying that says ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. That means that truth is one, but people call him by various names. Okay, one of the if you heard about Swami Vivekananda, he mentioned, his quotes are like different streams, right? You'll see different streams merging into an ocean. These different streams of different faiths, different beliefs within the same religion, but they all converge into one particular God or ultimate truth, we call. Okay. Strategic Trinity, the three phases, this is just our definition of God, God, generator, operator, and destroyer, right? So for any system to work, you need a generator, right? You need somebody to create, and you need an operator to make sure that throughout the process, the things are working properly. And then once the process is done, once you need to dissolve it or dilute it, right? In a proper way. So that's the definition of God. God. Again, this is not a true definition, but just to make it a little bit more understanding here. So we came with this. So basically, generator, operator, destroyer. Brahma, one of the forms of the God, he's actually God of creation in our belief. And then Vishnu is an operator, one who takes care of you. Okay, and Shiva is a god of dissolution. Again, dissolution is like a cycle, right? Dissolution doesn't mean that destroying in a bad way. It means that resetting the clock, resetting, cycle in there. Okay. Some of the major branches of Hinduism is Vaishnavism. There again, there's different, like I mentioned, the different beliefs within the same religion. Lord Vishnu is one of the gods that some people believe in. It's called Vaishnavism. That's one branch in the religion. Shaivism is people who primarily believe and offer prayers to God Shiva. It's called Shaivism. And Shaktas is goddess Shakti. It's a female form of God. Some people believe her to be the supreme, so they're called Shaktas. And Smartas is okay. They don't have a choice. Like they don't have a primary choice. They're like, okay, everything is mine kind of thing. So the reason I'm bringing this up is, or it is explaining this is, as I keep saying, it's like different circles, different beliefs, but within the same big circle in there. Okay. It doesn't mean that I'm a Vaishnava, for example, my primary belief is in Lord Vishnu. Doesn't mean that I don't play other gods like Shiva or Shakti, or because again the fundamental thing is it all converges into one supreme entity up there. Okay. Basic tenets of Hindu Dharma is, again, as I mentioned, it's one supreme being called Brahman. He's all pervasive, immanent, and transcendent. The avatar, the Lord, also manifests through various incarnations, right? So the belief system is, over the years, over the centuries, the Lord comes in different forms onto this earth. Karma is the biggest concept that you can see in Hinduism. Karma it's a law of cause and effect. Good karma versus bad karma. People doing good work, right? Charity work. Keep people doing good things to others. That's like you're adding up your good karma into your account. Bad karma, things like bad things that you do is bad karma, right? So the cause and effect. Good things you reap benefits. Bad things, yes, you have to go through punishment, things. So that's a karma practice that Hindus practice. Karma is what Hindus believe in. Reincarnation, again, the soul reincarnates many times, right? So it's a cycle of birth and death in Hinduism. So once you pass away, right, you'll take birth in some other place, maybe some other country, some other form, some other shape, whatever it is, some other animal, whatever it is, until your good karma, until your bad karma is zero. So if you have a balance of bad karma in your account, right, then you keep taking birth until your bad karma goes to zero, and good karma, it's all you have is good karma. Okay. And again, same as universe, right? Universe undergoes several endless cycles, same like the universe. Even the individuals go through the same cycles. And other thing is, basic tenet is inclusivity, right? Again, no, when I say inclusivity, being tolerant with other religions, being understanding with other religions, right? Learn what's good from other religions as well, right? Instead of just saying, hey, this doesn't belong to my practice. Whatever is good, whatever you see good in there, it's okay to adapt to those practices. It's okay for us, for Hindus, to go and participate in churches or mosques, and and have about it. There's nothing that stops saying that you cannot, being a Hindu, you cannot do this or you cannot do that kind of thing. Okay. I'll go to the next one. I'll spend only like 10 seconds on this one. Again, what I talked thus far is a practice. There's a Supreme Court of India definition as well. You're considered as a Hindu if you accept that the Vedas, which are our scriptures, as your highest authority. And of course, there are other parts of it, but it's a legal definition of being a Hindu, at least in the Supreme Court of India. Okay. Concept of avatar and evolution, like I mentioned, one of the things that I when I explain this is, it is really close to science as well, right? The belief system is slightly closer to the science as well. So if you look at the various forms that God has taken, Remember I told you about Avatar, where the God manifests himself in on earth in different forms and shape. The belief system is, we know a concept of that God came in different forms over thousands and thousands and thousands of years, right? Even millions of years. So the first form the God has taken is a matsya, which is a fish, and it's an aquatic form, right? First you have water, then there's fish in there, right? And then the second form that he has taken is a tortoise, something, an animal that can live both in water as well as in land. The third form that he has taken is a varaha, which is a boar, which is just a land animal. Now you promoted yourself from water to land. Now you are on the right hand side, which is more on the land side, right? And then slowly evolving, right? You are a half man and a half lion. There's another god called Narasimha, and then a dwarf, right? A small dwarf. Then a man with axe. Man with axe is a hunter, right? Now you're trying to survive, right? Survive. So a man with axe. And then a Rama. Lord Rama is again family man, social life, things like that. And then the next is Krishna. My name is Krishna, a person with philosophy and teaching. Of course, if you have heard about Bhagavad Gita, which is our holy scripture, which is like Bible to Christians, right? Bhagavad Gita is one of the holy scriptures. Was actually taught by Lord Krishna, 5 to 7,000 years ago. And then Buddha, the teacher, right, is spiritual life. So all this is part of evolution, as part of the religion in here. The reason I'm showing this slide is, again, uh, the faith does blend with the science, some of the scientific methods and scientific findings. Okay. What is karma? Again, I'll spend a just a minute on this. Again, I mentioned before, karma is your cause and effect. Good karma versus bad karma, right? It's like think about that as a bank account, right? You have deposited some money, you can withdraw some money from there, right? So same thing, right? You have deposited a lot of good karma, you keep on depositing. Hey, but there is some negative karma, the bad things that you're doing actually taking, it's nulling out your balance, right? It's actually, your balance is diminishing. A positive balance is diminishing because you're getting a lot of bad karma as well. So the idea is, get all good karma onto you. That way, if there's no bad karma, you become one with the God, right? Unless you remove all the bad karmas, all the bad things that you have done, you can't be one with the God, which means that you have to take cycle your birth again. You have to be born again. It's a vicious cycle that you have to be spending. Okay. Some, again, we already talked about polytheism. Idolatry is another one misconceptions that I just want to talk about. Is, certainly, if you come to a temple, if you go to a temple, you'll see lots of idols in there. Idols with different forms and shapes. You'll see idols that are woman shaped. You'll see men idols. You'll see idols with half an elephant face, things like that. So again, these are idols that are just impressions, your personal impressions of the God, right? So these are formless Godhead who manifest in all forms and shape. So that's one of the things that they say is, you see God in everywhere. So you see God in idols as well. Okay. Casteism, right, is another one. The term casteism is actually a recent term, if you ask me, brought by British to India, right? So before that, there's no word called caste. It was called a varna system, but not a caste system. So think about this as a blue collar versus white collar workers, right? Basically, there's a division of labor in the society. That's all it is, right? There's nothing in there in the caste system. So it's a big misconception where people think that, hey, this caste system is so prevailing in India that it is actually bad in the world. Which I'll explain what I meant about that. Okay. And again, like I mentioned, idol worship versus ideal worship. So it is like, okay, you have your idol in front of you. You have your focus on that idol, but your actual destination is not doesn't stop at that idol. It is actually beyond that idol, right? So beyond that supreme, beyond the superpower that is behind that idol. So idol is like just a focal point for you. And then recognize Brahman is all manifestations. We talked about it. So we'll go to the next slide. Okay, caste and Hinduism. So basically, one of the things that I just wanted to bring this up is, again, this the division of the people, right, is not based on which family you were born into, right? It is mainly what kind of profession, what kind of services that you offer, what kind of things that you do, right? Mainly that is. So people who are educators, people who are learned men, and they preach, right? They become part of the priestly class, right? People who are warriors, right? People who have to fight for their religion, fight for their country, they are part of another division called, another class called kshatriyas, right? People who are businessmen, right? They're called vaishyas. And people, you have to have different people as well, right? Shudras are, again, people who have other professions, like, hey, you are probably a barber, right? You're probably a tailor, things like. So it's all based on the professions that people pick in, but there's nothing that stops you from going from one class to another class. A person, a tailor, a barber, who it is, right? He can learn all the scriptures, and he can be part of this class as well. So there's no, as it's a misconception that there's a hierarchy in this class system. Of course, there are social problems. I'm not saying I'm not denying those. Definitely there are social problems, but from the faith perspective, from the religion perspective, from the scriptures perspective, there's no hierarchy in there. A tailor, a person who's probably mending your shoes and things like that, is not considered as a person of a lower category than others. So certainly that kind of hierarchy something that's a misconception. And uh, you are welcome to choose whatever you want to be, right? So it's all interchangeable in the caste. So that's why when you look at, when somebody says that, hey, it's so caste oriented that only Brahmins, which we are supposed to be, right, with quotes and quotes, right, are the higher class, that's actually a wrong notion there. Okay. Because you see the god figures that you see, the gods in the temple, you see, if you really look at this, some of them are kshatriya, some of them are vaishyas. The main point in here is every profession, every service, every person is very important to the society to function and be self-sustained. For example, if you don't have a teacher in a village, what happens? You may not be taught. Your kids will not get a schooling properly, right? If you don't have a tailor in your village or in your town, what happens? You may not have good clothes, right? If you don't have a barber, right? Things. So every profession, every service is very important and so tightly coupled in the society. That's what the system is, not necessarily dividing people into different things and say, hey, you belong to this caste, you are a lower caste or a higher caste. There's no hierarchy at all. Okay. I'm almost into the presentation. Heaven, hell, and Hindu. People ask me, is there a concept of hell and heaven in Hinduism? Yes, right. I talked to you about bad karma, bad things and good things. Obviously, when you do bad things, yes, you have to go and pay for it. When you do good, you go do bad things. So that's the concept of hell in there. But it is not eternal hell, right? It is not the culmination of it. You have to come back and to go to heaven as well and enjoy the results of the good things that you have done. So that's the concept in here. It's not just hell that you go in. It's also go and enjoy the things as a result of the good things that you have done. And this is just mine. It's like heaven with a capital H, where it's a, hey, I've done all good karma, no bad karma at all in my account. Now I become one with the God, right? Which means that I don't take rebirth. That is heaven with hell, with H, which with capital H, right? I don't need to come back. I have become one with the God. So that is the heaven hell concept in the religion. Okay. Again, there's some ultimate teachings in there. One of the things that I just want to talk about is, like the bee gathering honey from different flowers, the wise man accepts the essence of different scriptures and sees only good in all religions. So this is the key thing for Hinduism, in Hinduism, and that's why you see that's been surviving for thousands of years because of this concept. Hey, practice your own, but accept all of the religions as well, right? So similar to that, so it says different scriptures, take anything that's good in other scriptures, good things from Bible, take it, accept it, right? And probably adapt to it, right? Take into into your own life, or take from Quran, whatever it is, right? Take all the good things from it and practice from it. Okay. just words of wisdom before I end. Watch your thoughts, for they become words. Watch your words, for they become actions. Watch your actions, for they become habits. Watch your habits, for they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. So this is, religion agnostic, right? Anyone can accept this one. This is pretty general. A concluding prayer. We all conclude with prayers. It says, "Lead me from asat to sat," which is, to the absolute reality, or lead me to that. Lead me from darkness to light. Darkness, in other words, ignorance, right? From ignorance to knowledge, self-realization. And lead me from death to immortality. Remember, I told you, as long as I don't have don't accumulate good karma, I'll take this birth again and again. So lead me from there to immortality, which is, just okay. um Again, like I said, it's a big topic. 20-25 minutes is absolutely uh, not sufficient, but just wanted to go through just a basic of what faith is about, and I'll open this for any Q&A that you may have.
Well, thank you very much for that presentation. That was that you presented, and but thank you for allowing for a Q&A. I'm going to ask our host Chuck to monitor this. So Chuck, would you identify them, or would you recognize them, please?
Hey, Cheryl, she's at lunch right now.
Chuck,
We have to get.
I think Ann has a question.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. When you were talking about the various castes, and you were talking about the different.
I hear a lot of background noise. Sorry, I can't. I'm not.
Someone has a microphone on. Would you please mute your microphone, please?
I was asking, when you were talking about the various castes, the different levels, I have two questions related to that. Is it possible for someone to move up? Can they go from being a businessman to being a military person, or a business person to being a Brahmin? And second is, I have traveled to India, and in general, people are encouraged to marry within their caste. And is that still true, and why is that?
Sure. Thank you for your questions. The first one is, again, like I mentioned, there's no levels, right? There's probably horizontals, not verticals. So let's get that a little bit clear, right? There's no levels, there's no hierarchy. Yes, those are interchangeable, right? So people who are born in Brahmins, so if Brahman, for example, right? Now, they can go into military. There's nothing wrong in it. Military people can also come and teach, scripture, learn scriptures and do it. In fact, there's a lot of non-Brahmins, people who are not born in that for the parents, Brahmin parents, actually have become Brahmins and come and become priests and things like that. So absolutely, yes, you can move around. There's no, like I said, it's all based on profession, not based on where you were born. That's right. And the second question about people marrying within their classes, again, this is a social thing. Think about this way, right? Doctor parents, right? If a father and mother are both doctors, it is possible that they both will say that, hey, I want my son to be a doctor too, or my daughter to be a doctor too. That kind of thing, right? So yes, there's social issues in there that people are still trying to say, hey, we'll be within the same group, same caste, but nothing in scriptures prevent you from marrying, like for example, a military person in that class marrying a Brahmin class or something like that. So nothing is preventing, but it's it's more of a preference. That's all, social preference. And people coming in here, a lot of my friends, daughters and sons, to the localites here, right? So we see a lot of, and we over the years it is changing. Over the years, the acceptance is going more and more. Okay. But in scriptures, there's nothing that prohibits you to do that. So that's the most important one. Okay. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, Bill Martin, I believe you have your hand up.
Yeah, Rudy, thank you. Krishna, I have a question concerning the cow. Is the cow still held sacred in Hinduism, and how did that come about?
So yes, cow is still held sacred in Hinduism, right? Definitely. One of the reasons they say is cow is, there's only two. So for example, your mother feeds you with its milk, right? With her milk, right? When you are born, right? And after a couple of years, right? After a couple of years of mother not able to feed you with milk, the next alternative for your nourishment, right? Is milk, right? And it is from the cows, predominantly from the cows, right? So cows are considered as your own mother, right? Because hey, after a couple of years, your mother of mother's milk, now we, you got milk as an alternate source. Not only that, cows are they say every part of the cow, right? Even after the cow's death, right? The skin of the cow is useful, so it's pretty much universal. So the usefulness of the cow is universal. So that's how it came out to be, that cow is like your mother, and that's why it is sacred.
Right.
Mainly. I'm sorry, did I lose you all?
Yeah, we're there. Thank you, and thank you for your presentation.
Tom Orlando.
Thank you.
Tom Orlando. Tom, we can't hear you. You raised your hand, right?
Thomas, or you can type maybe if you can't speak.
Gaylord.
Yes, sir. That was, thank you so much, both Siva and also Krishna, for your presentation. Not terribly informative. And I recall a favorite professor that taught comparative religions in undergrad school. And for certain history and government majors, it was required you take the course of comparative religions. And his theory was you don't really have an understanding of the world and how the world functions and how to be effective if you don't understand and have a knowledge of the various dominant religions in the world. And you've helped us have a much better understanding of Hinduism, and that is very, very helpful. And thank you again for the great program, Siva, and also for your presentation as well. You are very effective and helpful speaker today.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Yeah, Mark, I think you have your hand up.
Yeah, I live out on out southwest off of FM 1826, not too far from the temple out there, and it's always a pleasure when there's a celebration going on because there's lots of music and fireworks, and we just sit on the back porch and just kind of watch the fireworks. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about the celebrations through the year, through the calendar year, and
sure,
what those celebrations are for?
Sure. So every step in the life of a practicing Hindu is an event, right? A baby is born, it's an event. It's a positive event, so you have to celebrate, right? A baby grows up having his first food, right? Solid food, it's an event, right? It's a celebration. So the whole culture, the whole practice revolves around how do I bring the society together, right? It's a mass celebration. So the celebrations that you might have seen are Diwali, where there's fireworks in it, right? Which is, it's a big festival where thousands of people gather, exchange their thoughts, their speeches, to be together, have good food and have fun. So the basic culture, basic reasons for this is to bring people together so that you understand each other and help each other in different ways, right? So yes, there's one of the temples in Austin that that's called Barsana Dham. That's more of a ashram. It's like a place where a lot of people go there, visit, but the rituals don't happen like the day-to-day rituals that they do for gods, the idols, don't happen in the temple. All right, so different forms. It's a different form of practice there. Okay, but yeah, there's a festival of colors, right? Again, it's like bringing society together, bringing different people together. Play with colors, right? Once you play with colors, it's like, hey, I have so much anger, and I'm so much animosity with you, but hey, by playing colors, now all of a sudden maybe we became friends, kind of thing, right? So just to bring people together, those are the festivities.
Thank you.
Let me interrupt.
Of course, they always attached to. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, please.
No, I'm sorry, Krishna, excuse me for interrupting. Could you stay with us a few minutes longer while I return to the agenda and adjourn the meeting?
Certainly.
And then if you will allow us to ask maybe one or two other questions.
No problem. I'll hang around. Thank you. No problem.
Thank you. I do want us to get back to the agenda and allow Mac Ragsdale to share a little bit more information about next week's program. And Mac, if you will unmute, would you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, well, welcome back. Next week is our first in-person meeting since the world turned upside down, and Rudy's Barbecue. You will get a notice about it. And there's a sign up. There's you need to register. If you can think back how we used to do it when we were in person, it's the same thing. You need to register if you want a meal. It'll be catered. It'll be in the Moten Crockett room, and all the food will be in that room. And if you pay your $14, easiest if you do that online or bring money there, but easier if you can do it online. But either way, you need to register so that we know how much food to get. And we'll have all the barbecue choices of meats and sides and tea and dessert. So welcome back, and see you next week.
Yeah, Mac, thank you. What is the time for that for next week?
Oh, yeah, thank you. The meeting's going to start at 12, as we used to do. And so come a little early, like 11:45 or even earlier if you want. The food will start being served at 11:45. So you'll want to come a little bit early to check in and get in line and, find your place and sit down and get settled.
And it's all going to be in the Moten Crockett room. You do not have to go through the regular customer line. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And as Mac is indicating, there will be something sent out to all our members by email confirming all this information and inviting everyone to join us. So again, it's the installation of new officers and directors for the 21-22 calendar year. And it'll be at Rudy's Barbecue there across from Central Market on Lamar. So be on the lookout, check your email about that. Yes, JP?
Greg Hughes also asked it on chat, but what is the mask policy at Rudy's today?
Rudy's is open. I think that we follow whatever the CDC guidance is, which is pretty much if you're vaccinated, you can come with or without a mask. That's your option. If you are not vaccinated, you need to wear a mask.
So mask optional is what the guidance we get then.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can, let me add that we'd like people to register before noon on noon this coming Tuesday, because we need to know how many people are coming in order to order food. So the deadline for registering is before Tuesday at noon. So please do that.
So Mark, do you project putting something out this afternoon or in the next day or so where people can make choices?
It's scheduled, it's on the website now. If you go to the website, you just click on the link for the events and you'll see it. There will be an email going out tomorrow and another reminder email going out on Monday. But you can register anytime. Just go to the website and you can register anytime. But it's got to be before noon on Tuesday.
If they could pay online to avoid hassles with the payments at the door, that would be great, guys. So
Yes.
just if you can add that too as well, Mark. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I hope everybody kind of is having a good idea about what's happening next Thursday. It's very important that we all kind of have the time in mind, the location, and as Mark and Leonor and others have reminded us, try to be there a little bit early. You do not have to attend the meeting. You don't have to eat. You don't have to order. But if you do plan to do that, please do so online ahead of time and pay if you can online. And all the food will be available there in the Moan Crockett room. So be on the lookout for email with more information. Is there, I believe with that, we have concluded all the items on our agenda. Unless anyone has any last parting words, I believe we are okay. Again, our speaker has graciously agreed to stay on a few minutes. If anyone has a question, please be aware of that. And then following that, at about 1:45, we will begin our board meeting. Okay, with this, our meeting is adjourned. Y'all have a good one then.
The Zoom meeting, the Zoom will remain open just straight through the board meeting.
All right, thank you. Okay, Krishna, thank you so much for your patience and
Rudy.
allowing us to finish.
Rudy, just 1 second. One small announcement. If anyone interested for a tour to the Austin Hindu temple, some guided tour, please let me know. Krishna is willing to give a guided tour to the temple.
Thank you so much, Siva. I appreciate that invitation for all our lines that would like to have a more personal tour. Siva is our contact person there. Is that correct, Siva?
Yes, sure.
Yes. All right, good. So let's return to any Q&A that may still be there. Yeah. I have a question, if I may. Here in Austin, what part of Austin is a temple in, or a number of temples? And then the second part of the question is, are there levels of, like, I'll use the word priesthood in the Hindu religion? Is there a central point that the world of Hinduism looks at as the main Hindu location?
Sure. So yeah, so there are 3 temples in big temples in Austin area. One is on the 1826 that I believe it's Mark that mentioned. There's one, the Austin Hindu temple, which is the largest one, which Shiva and I both are associated with, is on 183 and Loyola Lane. If you go to Decker Lake Road, if you know where the Decker Lake is, it's closer to that. We can Shiva can type in the address in the chat window, Shiva. And then there's one temple in Cedar Park. So about 3 temples. The temple that we go usually is on the Decker Lake Road. Okay, that's and the second question was about a priest having a central. So not really, right? Like I said, it's not institutionalized. So there's nothing. There's no hierarchy. There's nothing like, okay, this priest belongs to other priests and things like that. But in general, because the religion is predominantly followed in India and the surrounding areas, right? People may look into those regions. For example, for our temple to be built here, we actually had to get the architects from India, right? They have to come and design it here based on the location and things like that, right? So there's no architects or priests here, so we had to go get from India. So we have about 7 priests in our temple. We had to actually go get them from India because there's no local, there's no institutions here that can teach Hinduism, right? As the rituals that priests do it here. So we go get from India.
Okay, thank you. And I may want to add a little word about Lionism.
Did I answer your question, sir?
Yes. Yes, thank you. If you can hear me, I did want to add this word. We just received this week, perhaps yesterday, a change. Every year, our Lions Club International meets in a different location of the world. And for next year, the location was scheduled to be New Delhi.
Oh.
And but because,
wow, okay.
Yes,
good.
but,
Okay.
But because of the outbreak and the pandemic situation being there and the amount of time it takes to plan ahead, that is being rescheduled, and more announcements I'm sure will be forthcoming from LCI, but that is being rescheduled from New Delhi to, I believe, Montreal. So and with that opening as to return to New Delhi when that situation seems to calm down a little bit more. So it's not having to do with Hinduism, but it just relates to that part of the world.
Rudy, I had another question. Bill Martin.
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Krishna, my wife and I had an opportunity to tour the temple out on 1826, right after it was built, and a few years back, and we were asked to leave our shoes outside the building.
Right.
Could you tell me a little bit about that symbolism and how that evolved?
Sure. Definitely, right. So some of the practices are built in there to avoid any contamination and things like that, right? So for example, if I wear shoes to office, I go to bathrooms, right, in office, or it's like my shoes are everywhere, right? So if you leave the shoes outside, right, you're not actually bringing something that you carried on your shoes into the because temples are like mass congregation places, right? If you keep doing that, right, so what happens is you may catch something, or some other people may catch something. It's for hygienic reasons more than anything else. Even in our homes, right, we do the same thing. We leave our shoes in garage and get in. So that's the main hygienic reasons.
Yeah, thanks.
Rudy, Roberto Martinez has a question.
Yes. At the beginning, you said that Hinduism is an activity, not a belief. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Sure. So, like I said, a belief to me, again, this is my different. A belief is something very rigid, right? It's like, okay, if you don't do this, something will happen, right? That's like a belief, right? And activity is like a process, right? It is thing that is attached to it on a day-to-day basis, right? The practices that you do without yourself knowing about it, right? For example, when you are growing up, you attain certain things, right, without you knowing that you are attaining it. So to me, belief is if I don't do this, something bad will happen. If I don't go to, let's say, temple on a weekly basis, something is going to happen. If I don't believe in the scripture, something is bad going to happen, kind of things, right? But just going to a temple is an activity, right? Whether I go for a purpose or I go for hey, I'm just going there because I like it, or I'm going there just to eat some food there because there's some free food there. It's just an activity, right? So but I'm doing that without any of this strong things that are coming to picture that says that you have to do it this way or else something goes wrong, right? So that's why we keep saying it's not a belief. It's more of a something that's kind of embedded into you.
So you don't have those expectations. You don't have expectations.
No, right? That's the fundamental. Yes, There's no, and very informal, right? The expect, so for example, right, you can just walk into any temple, any of any denomination, right? Of course, there's no denomination concept, but you can go in, right? There's no expectation. There's no expectation that, hey, you have to be a member of this, or else you're not, you don't belong to this faith or belief, right? Things like that. It's open to all kind of things. So it's, that's why there's no expectation at all. I go to a temple, I go to a different temple, I pay, I don't pay, you know, there's nothing, no expectation, right? I go for you know, to offer services, not to receive services kind of thing. There's no expectation. Yes.
Same thing with the Brahma. You don't have an expectation.
Okay.
It just comes. Brahma, tell us,
Right.
identify that one.
So
Brahma.
yes, Brahma, right? Not Brahma. Brahman is a supreme being, right? So
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we have time for just one more question before we need to pull away for our board meeting. Any final question for Krishna? I think you've satisfied all our curiosity, and so I do appreciate so much we all appreciate your presentation today. You're being here with us as our speaker for our Lions Club, and so thank you so much for your presentation today.
thank you all. And like Shiva said, you know, if you want a tour of the temple, please contact him. I've taken a lot of church groups and university folks to tour. You'll appreciate the place, you'll appreciate the friendliness, and you'll appreciate the whole culture there, right? So it's a good educational activity that you can have. Okay, and I welcome you all, and I'll be there personally to take you to the tour. Okay.
Thank you so much. And thank you also to Line Siva. Siva, thank you for making the arrangements for today's program.
Thank you, Siva.
Very informative, very informative. With this, I'm afraid we're going to have to call our Q&A to a close, and we'll take about a 1 or 2 minute breather before we get into our board meeting, so that you know, just kind of take a deep breath, and we'll be getting to that in just a moment. Again, thank you to our speaker,
Thank
and
you.